Changing
I'm pretty good.
changing topics over here to going back to a unofficial official critiques segment, which we haven't really focused on much lately. We're actually going to look at the Batman series that Christopher Nolan did. The Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and obviously Dark Knight Rises. Mostly because I watched it earlier today and it's on my mind. So
there you
I'll
go.
talk about
I love
it.
Really quickly, actually, did you guys see the new trailer for the new upcoming Batman?
Yeah, with Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, that trailer actually looks really good.
I need to see. I heard about it.
I would recommend. I would recommend watching it. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It did, but also for some reason his like Bruce Wayne, like the little like shot they had of him with like no mask on, he looked to me like Johnny Depp from Edward Scissorhands. Like, why'd they make him look like that?
I don't know. That's actually great, though. Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, let's get into breaking down our picks and everything.
I don't know why I thought you were about to say let's break down Breaking Bad. I was like, that's not Batman.
No,
Jeff.
that's not what. No. I think it's.
The only problem I have with those movies is that they are a little long. They're a little like an hour and a half too long.
They're not too bad though. Like,
if you find it on TV, it's like 4 hours long. But obviously with ads and everything, it's going to add to it.
Yeah, it's usually it's like a 2.5 hour movie.
Something like that.
I believe so. I can look up the exact times.
Don't log out.
Yeah.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
I think it's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, Batman Begins was 2 hours 20.
Dark Knight Rises 2 hours 44 minutes. That's probably the longest one. Yeah, and Dark Knight is 2 hours 32 minutes.
Yeah. It's a little long for my take. It's if you can do it, I think he did it well enough where if you're like watching it like in the theaters or wherever, it doesn't feel like it's that long. But if you watch it over and over again, you kind of see some this like loop like stuff that isn't that great in it. But like stuff like even like not that I'm really shit on longer movies because I like the Infinity War and Endgame, and those ones were also equally as long.
Those were long movies.
Yeah,
I loved them, but they were long.
Yeah, they were. Again, there was some stuff that I wasn't really like a big fan on those ones either, but like there were longer ones that I wasn't really I still liked.
I feel like there's always some parts of movies that, in very long movies, they're just for whatever reason they just have to throw in a lot of filler stuff.
Yeah. And obviously, I think many people, if they're looking at these three, the obvious one that they're going to say is the best, mostly because of Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, is The Dark Knight.
Yes.
It is probably the best one, even though my favorite might actually be Batman Begins. I kind of like that one a little bit more, at least story-wise and movie in general. I kind of like that one more than The Dark Knight itself. But Heath Ledger makes it a very tight one there, just because I liked how he was as a villain, how he portrayed the Joker character, and just that way of it just really was one of those things I really enjoyed about that movie. And obviously everyone else thought that same way. And obviously, unfortunately, shortly after that, he passed away. So.
Well, they were actually still filming when he passed. So unfortunately, he never got to see his finished work and everything.
The finished product.
The finished product, which is extremely sad. And he actually won. I think it was best supporting role for his portrayal. But
rightfully so, because he was really good.
Absolutely, he was incredible. And one of the better scenes was the interrogation scene between Batman and obviously the Joker, when the Joker's locked up and everything. And Heath Ledger in interviews, Christian Bale said he actually told Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, he actually told Christian Bale saying, to make it more realistic, actually punch me in the face, which is just nuts. And they were hard punches that Christian Bale was tossing. It looked like he was really like throwing punches left and right, just going crazy on Heath Ledger there. So hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess gets the job done.
I think he was. I think he's one of those meta actors that he really got into that
method actors,
character. Yeah. So
Yeah,
when
he did.
yeah, I
goes,
think that,
all
and that was
in,
another
yeah.
thing too, was that I think a lot of that time he was spending on his own, kind of developing the character himself, like by himself.
Yeah,
And I think
he
that,
because they even mentioned he, I think, ended up like, not checking it, like it was something like locking himself in like a hotel room, but like like he kept himself in a hotel room for like 3 months and everything like that, and
Yeah.
to really he went like very far into creating such an iconic character,
and it showed.
it really did, and he did again such a phenomenal job, and it's he
I
did
think
such a great job.
I think a little bit goes down to the writing for that character that Christopher Nolan did to that, but I think it also goes back to actually how he portrayed it.
Yeah, and one
I'm
of the
sure there's
things
other scenes like that interrogation scene where he went like full into it, like hit me or something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and and he even did a little improvise. He improvised a little bit with the one scene with the hospital scene where he's pressing the detonator, and he pressed it once and
Yeah, because it
blew up a little bit.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, because
it
wasn't
was
it
a
like a
little
technical
faulty,
difficulty thing
yeah,
too?
and his reaction is so just natural, and it is like something you would expect from like the Joker. It's just like,
Yeah.
he's like
Like,
like
it's one of those things that came off so natural that you don't realize it wasn't actually like a fault on the movie. It was actually something that he may have actually done.
Exactly. He makes it like the way he just does it. It comes naturally to him. It came naturally to him. But so I would say, I think but going back to the rankings, though, we can easily say number one is The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
I think a lot of people are probably going to put Rises as their third there.
And that's
Rise
a tough
isn't
one.
bad.
It's not.
It's
I
not
don't think any of them
bad.
are really that bad, but
No, they're all good. So Dark Knight is just great. Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, they're good, solid movies.
Yeah.
But I can see toss up for which one's two, which one's three.
Yeah.
Brian, what's your opinion?
I kind of like Tom Hardy's portrayal of Bane more, so that gives me a little more points for Rises.
Okay. Brian.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Okay. Yeah.
Just because it sets everything. It sets the tone for everything.
It sets the tone for the rest of the series.
It's a solid and it's hard to choose because they kind of loop around.
Yeah.
And for the third and the first, rather than pulling all that
and the
stuff.
thing I do like in the
very
third,
hard.
The thing I liked in the third was the ending of the third one. Was how they ended
and
that.
actually, a lot of people
I like the ending a lot.
No, it's a good ending, but it's still it was at the time it was an ending that confused a lot of people, where they were saying, "Oh, did Bruce Wayne actually survive, or is this Alfred?" Like kind of creating that vision that he kind of talked about, like earlier in the film, where he was saying, every summer when Bruce Wayne was gone. Like during the events of the first film, he would go to Italy or something like that, and Saturday will order the same thing every once in a while, and he would just imagine, he would see Bruce and
No, so
it was. I think that was actually real, because if you remember the scene prior when he's talking to Morgan Freeman, they said the thing was fixed by Bruce Wayne.
The autopilot. Yeah,
but what it was that Albert he said he would always hope that one day, once like Bruce left, it wouldn't come back. He said he would hope he would see him in Italy or France, wherever it was.
Yeah,
he said, and so it wasn't like he was on vacation. He was like, I would always go to this one little tea shop, and I would always hope that when you decide to hang up your cape or whatever, that you'd be with a girl and you'd be sitting there, and we wouldn't have to say anything. We just give each other like a head nod or like some kind of gesture. And then he's like, but I would know that you're happy and that you're done.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what makes the ending really good, because it's such a little scene when he kind of splits away from Bruce Wayne. And then they come back to it right at the end, that like scene again. Yeah. And showing him actually there.
No, that
I love how again, like it has no words. It's just like a little.
It's just a little.
It's fantastic.
No, I thought that was a good one. The other underrated, absolutely. The other part that I absolutely loved in this film was when Gordon was asking, Batman's like, the city of Gotham has to know who is the Batman, and he says, it's as simple as it could be anyone, as simple as a hero could be anyone, as simple as putting a jacket around a small boy, telling him the world, even though like everything, like something bad happened or like the world had come to an end to him, everything will be all right. And just in that moment, they show that small flashback, and
right, because he's the only one that doesn't realize that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Everyone else realizes it, except for him.
Yeah, right. See, that's such a good point. Oh, geez.
Even though when you really think of it, who else would it be?
Yeah,
this guy has this much money.
Yeah.
He has all these gadgets.
Even that one guy, Colton Reese, figured it out.
Yeah.
And he works for him.
Yeah, it's just.
But anyway, so if I had to pick, it would obviously be Dark Knight 2. It's really a toss-up for me because Batman Begins creates such a great origin story.
Yeah.
And you want to know more. And again, they had that tremendous reveal leading up to the second one of they showed the Joker card, so the Joker is coming in that second film, and there's a lot of really key and important details and everything that really sets everything up perfectly. So for that, and just again how everything flows and just the storyline and creating that strong origin story for Batman in Christopher Nolan's world, I'm going to go Batman Begins for a second and Dark Knight Rises.
Mine's the same as yours, Jeff.
I think, though, that they're very close, that Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins are almost neck and neck. It's very hard to pick between the two, but they're neck and neck, but then Dark Knight is just so far ahead of both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Just a fantastic, trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
especially one that has been done to death prior, so it was good to see a different kind of take on it, and then 3 kind of versions of it instead of what it was in like the 80s and 90s where it was a different incarnation of Batman. Some of it was a little some cohesion, but it was a lot of different stories. But it was good to see a different kind of look at it.
The one thing that kept popping up with all these Batman films, and because again, while creating the origin story, you have to show the deaths of Thomas and Martha Wayne, his parents, and in this one they really nailed it in the Batman Begins film, where they really it was just a random guy on the street and everything, and because I think in one other version of the Batman films, they actually made the origin story for Batman for the death of his parents actually it being the Joker who killed his parents, which is different. But again, this is I think it was like pre-Joker phase. It just happened to be the guy who eventually became the Joker, which is pretty interesting. So they had a lot of cool moments and everything. But all in all, though, Christopher Nolan, again, he's one of my favorite directors. He did such a phenomenal job with the series,
and I think because of how well he did the portrayal of the origin stories, I think the next Batman movies that come, the Robert Pattinson one, I think there's another one in the works too, but I think those ones will not focus so much on the origin stories, but when he's already Batman, which it should be at that point.
And that's exactly right. So for perfect example, look at how MCU did that with Tom Holland as the new Spider-Man. They established him as Peter Parker in Civil War as his MCU moment, welcome to MCU, and then in Spider-Man Homecoming, he's telling his best friend Ned, about how he got all his powers. He got bit by a spider or anything. And he's kind of basically talking about all the pinpoints we already knew in the origin story that we don't have to see again. Because, with Spider-Man, the one with Tobey Maguire, and then the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, both times you see him get bit by a spider, both times you see the death of Uncle Ben. And there's subtle hints for all of those moments that we see, and that's something that really makes me appreciate the Spider-Man Homecoming film.
And similar to the
even more.
Spider-Man one where they went a little younger with Tom Holland, I think they did the same thing with Robert Pattinson being Batman. Since I feel like he looks a little younger than Christian Bale or even
he certainly
Michael Keaton
does.
Batman.
Or also what's his name?
George Clooney.
No, not George.
How's that Batman?
That I know.
Yeah, that was like
no, the guy who holy crap, I can't remember his name. I can picture his face. Hold on, sorry, give me a moment. I can't.
I know who you're talking about. And there's that literally an office. There's a Friends line.
Ben Affleck, right?
Well, he's the more recent one. Yeah, Ben Affleck too.
Yeah,
I didn't like those.
Yeah, no, I think
those are trash movies.
Yeah,
they are.
But no, that's what I was thinking of though, as the other Batman, where he looks a little older than Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm hoping that they don't. Again, they kind of go the MCU route of like they already established the origin stories. They kind of just get right into it when he's already the hero,
Yeah,